Hey everybody, another Dirty South Cybersecurity podcast coming to you live from Black Hat 2024 at the Mandalay Convention Center. I'm here, Tony UV, Koki here.
Yeah, this is Kofi.
Kofi.
Yes, sir.
My bad. Good to be here with Kofi, and we're about to get down on 5 key topics, so tune in right now.
All right.
Dirty South Cybersecurity Podcast coming to you live, Black Hat 2024. Tony UV
and Kofi.
Coming to you live. We just did our first one back in the ATL. Now we're here live in Las Vegas. We got 5 key topics to hit up today. Kofi today just had some an interesting day of training. We'll get to that in a second. Here are the 5 topics you need to know. So first topic we're going to hit up is around security events, security incidents. We'll talk a little bit about, the Crowdstrike incident that everyone hates to talk about because it's been overly played. Topic 2, geopolitics, related to cybercrime or not. Number 3, the state of software quality assurance today from the .com era. We'll have some thoughts and opinions. Topic 4, automated testing. We'll talk about the advent of AI and automation in security testing and just automation in general. And then last but not least, the role of artificial intelligence in the future of cyber attacks. You ready to go?
Yes, sir, I am.
Let's do this.
Yes, sir.
All right, topic 1, hypothesis. The Crowdstrike event was neither a security issue or an event. True or false?
My take, I think it is security event.
Why is that?
So let me tell you what happened. When I first saw the news of this outage, right? The first thing I did was to go take a look at CrowdStrike's stock. Okay. And you may ask yourself, like, well, why would cybersecurity professional, hear such a news? And the first thing that comes to my mind is the stock of the company.
Right.
And that brings in a very good question. What if? Hypothesis. Like, what if this wasn't just a random breakdown in an update or whatever?
Orchestrated financial play.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What if the ultimate goal is actually more than what we saw?
Now, let me ask you this. Do you have evidence to back it up? Is it right now just kind of a good gut security veteran type of gut feeling?
Yeah, I don't have any evidence, and that is why I am throwing in what if statement. All right, because all of us are looking at this from the same angle.
Right.
Okay. There was a glitch somewhere. Mm-hmm. People are throwing out the corporate file, dissecting it, going through debugging and all those things, which is all fine and dandy. But I have to put on a different hat and think from outside the box of security and think from the standpoint of what about financial stuff? Like, what if that would have been the ultimate goal?
Right.
Because, this is a very big organization. And the moment this thing happened, the stock was just going down. What if...
What I want to know is how much money you made on the stock.
No, you see, unfortunately, I did not. I actually lost because I had some stock in CrowdStrike. Now,
let's put a bookmark on that topic, because that's going to be topic number 2, the role of geopolitics in cybercrime. But let's talk. I'm going to basically lend my views. I don't think it was a security issue. I do think it was an incident because it fits the definition of various legal, state, international, and most importantly, the SEC, right? Deems it an incident because it affects the CIA, the A in the CIA of availability. So in that sense, it can be deemed an incident, but I don't think it was security related, because anything related to any sort of adverse or abuse case was done. Now, going back to what you're putting down, then maybe there was potentially some collusion that you're hypothesizing, where there was an external actor working with an inside actor that deliberately didn't want to do some proper QA testing in order to create a software issue that abended on a predominantly Microsoft environment. So in that sense, then I would concur. It's a security incident. But overall, per the definition of incidents, state laws, SEC, what they have down, I do think it's an incident because it does affect the availability. what to do about it is very difficult. I think that this particular incident was very unique. I don't think that there's a lot of enterprises out there that are well prepared to vet the quality and the resilience of whether or not a software is properly tested, so that there isn't some sort of loop that is never ending and then crashes the OS. But let's go into your second topic because I like that. Mm-hmm. Geopolitics influencing cybercrime. I'm going to go ahead and guess that you feel that the state of geopolitics today and the threat motive of financial gain, right, is definitely influencing cybercrime, criminals and syndicates today. True or false?
True.
Okay. So let's go back to your hypothesis.
Yes.
All right. So can you feed us more about your idea that potentially, right, there was an outside influence that maybe is it? I don't even want to put words in your mouth. Walk us through what you're thinking there with and it doesn't have to be Crowdstrike. It could be any other organization.
Yes.
In technology. So walk us through.
Yes, and I think I was actually going to give an example of, and this has happened several times in a different shape or form. You'll recall Iranian centrifuge back in those days, yes. Stuxnet?
Yep.
All right. Is that ringing something?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Geopolitical, and obviously influenced by military operations and military intelligence desires and things like that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I concur. I think geopolitics today, the state of where we are today with elections and wars going on.
Exactly.
There's a lot of things that are going to be taken away from what, our military groups are trying, as relates to infrastructure that's connected, energy infrastructure, economic disruptions and things like that. 100%.
So my question is, what if we are revisiting such an incident but in a different way?
Okay.
Because Stuxnet wasn't about financial gain.
Right.
It was still back to geopolitical, perspective, angle, right?
Okay.
But what if this is in a financial sense?
Yes.
And this had a huge impact on Crowdstrike. Not even just Crowdstrike. Airlines also fell to it. I mean, I was watching news, from the CEO of I think Delta.
Right.
And I mean, these guys lost $500 million.
Yes.
In cancellation of flight. So
right.
This wasn't even just one institution.
Okay.
So it just went beyond just.
Let's talk about threat attribution. So who do you think, talk to me more about your thoughts on who might be, nation state? Is it a syndicate? Is it, an individual working, as a kind of a lone wolf? What do you think threat attribution is for someone to be wanting to work with someone on the inside presumably taint the quality of particular software that is found pervasively across multiple different vertical markets?
Yes.
In order to create disruption and opportunities for, playing short-term market gains.
And I may be long away from giving a right answer, but I think it would be very hard for me to attribute this to a nation state because this wasn't just one country or two.
Right.
This was global in nature, right? Yeah. So that brings me down to most likely
a syndicate.
A syndicate.
Okay.
And again, I'm just guessing here.
Sure.
We're not. Because we don't have all the facts.
By the way, he said that, not me. So, hey, had to make it clear. Don't go after me. I'm just playing.
Hey, man, this is Dirty South, man.
Yeah, gotta keep it 100.
We lay it all out. So.
Well, let's go to our third topic. We got 3 more topics to hit, and they're super juicy and interesting here. So, Black Hat 2024. Now, going back to the first topic where, again, it was software, at least on paper, right? It was a software quality issue, poor quality assurance. We don't really talk about a lot of things in security too much that is akin to technology, right? There's things like architecture. We don't talk a lot about when it comes to product security or software security. Quality assurance testing. I'll begin on this one, and okay. I'll say that quality assurance, going back to the .com era, and the hypothesis is the age of .com to the age of AI, better or worse in terms of quality assurance? I'll say better. I think that there's been just a greater understanding about how to emulate functional use cases in software. There's been, a time over a decade to be able to mature how regression functional testing is working through different types of tools. Stress testing, we all know about different types of platforms, web apps, even client-server type applications that are stress tested. So I think it's better. But I think that, clearly there was at least again on paper, the Crowdstrike thing was definitely more of a lack of quality assurance, focus, good execution, good due diligence, good validation, and so forth. So predictions, I don't see this happening a lot. I do see that because of this event, this is now going to reintroduce and re-emphasize the importance of good, solid regression testing, functional testing, making sure that, when, especially on the receiving side, right? So a lot of companies, as you said, were affected. I think that, it's important for the software manufacturer to be able to roll out a version of software and then to do some level of functional testing to the various, operating systems that are out there that are known to be, going to be running, that are known to be supported. So I think, overall, QA testing is going to be better. Yeah. I think that this event was a difficult one for a lot of businesses, especially in the hospitality sector, to endure. And this is only going to place a greater emphasis for what sort of things you cannot just glaze over. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, and I think up until now, we've been on different path on this podcast so far. Yeah. But I think it's the only part that I think I do agree with you. There has been a lot of improvement.
I appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah, so there has been a good amount of improvement, and I think this is just going back to history. I mean, we always learn from the history, and we've been improving upon cybersecurity and everything based on lessons learned. And we'll always learn and keep improving, because the worst thing that would happen is when we don't use history to make things better. And it looks like so far cybersecurity, we've been doing good with that, by learning from our mistakes and then keep improving. And I think this is going to be a benchmark. And I would not be surprised if we hear a framework or something where it is actually developed from this particular incident.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. And hopefully so. That would be, just to kind of level up to be able to make sure this doesn't happen again. All right, let's go into some. Let's go into the age of automation. So that last question was the age of .com to the age of AI. We are now in the dawn of AI, and we got to talk about automated security testing. So, we know a lot about pen testing, exploit testing.
Yeah.
Right. And recently, actually, a day before flying out here to Vegas, I saw a post. I'm not going to name any names, but there was a product security leader that was talking about a new company that just got seed money around the number of 15 to 20 mil. And they had a statement that was pretty bold, I thought, that talked about how their AI pen tester beat out a 20-year human that took roughly about 40 hours to do exploit testing on the same target. And the AI pen tester, I think, did it in 4 hours or something. So naturally, there's a lot of things to unravel here. The economic allure that companies will have to be able to, embellish this sort of solution into their regiment so that they can save time, save money, emulate human intent in product security testing, exploit testing, things like that. I think that'll be important to see. Where do you think we are? Do you think this is marketing or near future reality? And if near future reality, where do you see the AI role in application or product pen testing maturing? Do you think it's less than a year? Do you think less than 3 years?
So this is sort of the first time I've heard such a statement being made about automation when it comes to, offense security, like, operations or pen testing. But to see such a statement, there are so many factors when it comes to pen testing.
Yep.
Right? And that is where sometimes I think we make a mistake. All right. We have network infrastructure pen testing, even both external and internal. We have wireless, we have application, we have thick client, we have ATM, we have iOS, we have POS. pen testing, wireless, social engineering, physical pen test, right? And I'm speaking about all this because I have done all these before, right?
Right.
And for you to tell me that a platform or automation was able to beat somebody with 20 years of experience, that still leads me to scratch my head to understand what was done. We don't have enough data to show what was tested and how good was this person at. Because one mistake we also do make is we believe we have this kind of like, jack of all trades in pen testing or OffSec, which I don't think does exist.
No, you're right.
There are some areas that people are good at, okay? I may be good at a particular area, and I'll be very honest, I'm not good at code review.
Okay.
I'm not that great at all about code review, but I'm very good at other areas, right? So for you to tell me that a tool, beat somebody with number of years in pen testing, you haven't given me enough information.
All right, tangential comment here. I mean, I personally wouldn't put code review under like adversarial pen testing or exploit testing, but I do recognize that in the industry we do that.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well,
because you're really doing static analysis, right? You're just reading code and you're not really exploiting anything. You're identifying. Yeah. So but in any case, I just interesting how we kind of categorize things. But going back to your point, I do agree with you that there's some people I know that are great at mobile, right? They do mobile client pen testing.
Yeah.
They do a lot of great reversing. They basically, look at, they do some level of reverse engineering or call flow analysis, through like maybe a debugger.
Yeah.
But then they're not very good at web, or they don't even have any interest in web.
Yeah.
Usually they don't have any interest in web.
Yeah.
But so I agree with you. So I think, going back to this example, and I think what's dangerous here, because we're at Black Hat, and Black Hat's definitely known as more of the vendor, related conference compared to like B-Sides Las Vegas, or shout out to B-Sides Las Vegas, or DEF CON, right? So where it's more just hands-on practitioners sharing, skill sets and whatnot. I think the danger here is that they get a lot of attention. There's a lot of people walking away with inserts, and there's a lot of marketing hype.
Yeah.
And I think that the danger is that security programs nationwide are going to continue to believe this hype.
Exactly.
And then what they're going to do is they're going to quickly find out that they're buying a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If you and I worked for this said company, right, of course we're going to calibrate our AI model to basically, emulate a specific target with specific, weaknesses that are identified. But that's just one static target.
Exactly.
Right? But you take that same software component and you put it into a different infrastructure, different layers of architecture, right? This is where you got to retrain the model.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't know that. So the concern here is on the permutations, right? The different parts of the permutations are not going to be at this point in time, and you've seen different CEOs from Tesla and NVIDIA talk about, on like CNBC shows from there that said the AI is just not ready yet. We're coming to a responsible level of adoption where we see that we still have some work to do.
Yeah.
So the concern I have is that, the hype is going to basically change, the direction of certain programs. They're going to rip out certain paradigms. They're going to implement some others. They're going to basically be attracted to the gold rush of automation, and they're not going to get the results that they really are looking for.
And I think what I want to also put in here is we are now downplaying the importance of AI when it comes to pen testing or any offensive security operations. I think what I would coin it, or I would term it, is guided automation, okay, with human intervention, okay, because at the end of the day, we're trying to be much more efficient at what we do, right? You go to an engagement, you have about a week or two to do an engagement. Why would I want to spend more time doing the same thing that I could have a tool help me do? So guide it,
right?
But not to replace me, thinking that it would do everything that I would have done.
Yeah.
Okay. And talking about AI still have its own downsides. And I was telling you about a training that I went to, right? AI training, and there was this attack called.
How'd that go? Hey, I had to ask. It was Dirty South Security Podcast.
Yeah. Well. Man, don't put me on the spot, man. I mean, let me just make my point.
I'll let you get back to it.
So yeah. So, but it went well, by the way. Thank you. But I was just going to make a reference to, some attacks against the AI itself. Okay, the underlying, LLM. All right. And one of them was, credentials. Oh, I can't even get a name right. Crescendo attack, right? And this is where you begin to communicate with the LLM or the underlying AS platform, right?
Right.
And then you ask a question, and the question or whatever that you ask him to do is denied.
Yep.
But you begin to get its weaker spot, like, soft spot of, funny enough, soft spot of the AI.
Right.
And then eventually, the more you talk to this AI, the more you are able to eventually convince it through social engineering to do the same thing that you previously told him to do, and he said, I wouldn't do.
Social engineering the AI.
Exactly, right? Yes. And, so that is even just one attack. There's also what we call the injection attack, right? So the AI itself
prompt
has
injection.
its own problem. Yeah, prompt injection.
Yeah.
Thank you, right? So you can't just tell me that just because you run one model, as you said, it was driven towards a particular type of attack, and it won against a human being, doesn't make it 100% replacement for that particular human being, because a single tweak to that model or whatever you have may have had a different outcome from the AI.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the concern, and for those that are out there that maybe haven't been to Black Hat, but are you might be introduced to some of this type of marketing if you're in the space, and maybe you're a leader in the space and you're having to look at your third quarter budget, fourth quarter budget, next year's budget, whatever. As with anything, right? You take some of the advice judiciously and kind of peel the onion to really unravel and ask the right questions, because right now today there really isn't an AI model that has proven to basically be able to do all the different types of permutations for different targets in different types of environments. It's just it hasn't been demonstrated whatsoever. So I'm genuinely concerned. I see a lot of marketing hype in security, as you do too. So I think that this is just going to continue to basically steer leaders that are just still trying to get grips on cybersecurity and put them in the wrong direction. But let's end on this one, and this really is related.
Yeah.
So AI-based attacks. Now thinking more adversarially. So let's say you and I, we were running different syndicates. Can AI help us to be better at exploitation? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Now just go ahead and throw out some examples where.
And an example, in fact, I have used a couple of them in actual operation to actually generate, payloads such as, cross-site scripting payloads, and there are a whole bunch of other materials and content out there that actually give you walkthrough on how to, generate such payloads, using AI. So I would say definitely. Now, that is even just on a technical side of things. Have you ever thought about using AI to write your report, your pen test report?
I'm sure like half or more than 85% of the industry has.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I don't know your opinion on that, but that is also on the soft side of things, how to automate and make things much more faster. Can I have
That's
AI?
A great question. So, as a CEO of a consulting firm, so the answer is I don't think the AI models are ready to emulate the analytics, right? Because there's a lot of horrible pen test reports that are out there because they don't add the element of context. So it's difficult for an AI model to basically talk about the functional use case that is going to be exploited, and then to talk about the risk analysis of what that exploitation means if there's a proof of concept exploit that is developed by the pen tester, and then to be able to say this is what this means to you as it relates to the product and some of the key objectives of that product in the market. As it relates to patient health, as it relates to government records, as it relates to travel security and things like that. Yeah. So I think that there is a use for AI for that type of environment when it comes to developing libraries. As you know, I'm a big threat modeling evangelist and author, and so I think that if the AI can help to build and harvest good countermeasure libraries. Yeah. Remediation language for certain types of technological components that are in the cloud, serverless components, third-party components. I think that's helpful. Yeah. Because what every consulting firm or any really even internal group wants to do is provide their IT stakeholders options to how to mitigate at a network level, architecturally design patterns, code level, hardening through configurations, etc. But AI-based attacks, I definitely think that they are, there's plenty of examples for, even automating like platforms like Asterisk. Asterisk is a great platform for doing voice telephony-based attacks. Right, so you can basically instantiate and build your own like voice response unit. All the scripting that happens when you call like a 1-800 number, you can basically have a lot of the AI, emulate, write scripts, right? Write scripts that are tailored for, the credit card industry, that it relates to the banking industry, that it relates to, healthcare industry. And so I think a lot of those, from an offensive standpoint, if you're basically trying to build a malicious VRU in order to capture sensitive information, where the voice response unit says, "Hey, enter in your last 4 digits of your social security number," then I think all that scripting and especially the deep fakes as well, you can call the legitimate one. Right, capture that voice pattern, save it as a binary file, and then tie it to a script, text-based script that the AI writes, and then pair it with the audio file. Now you, like the victim, basically has an almost indiscernible, right, VRU if they're calling maybe a 188 number that's maybe 1 digit off. Right, it's so easy to, and no one pays attention to. This is the 188 number I need to call for Delta or for Southwest Airlines or JetBlue or whatever healthcare entity that's out there. So email, of course, with the several email platforms that are out there, Kingfisher, etc. You have the opportunity for automation, contextualization, right, to be able to use different types of psychological traits in writing that email for, it could be a fear-based email. It could be a, elation-based email. You want a prize, something like that. I think a lot of those things could be automated, and you could have a lot more ploys to be developed offensively through different AI models. But the list goes on and on into malvertising, even trying to do some level of building your own malware, building your own botnet, right? So I think, there's a lot of opportunity for even like script kiddies to level up to a new rung of nefariousness. It's because they're not having to basically do all the heavy lifting. Now they have a partner in crime that's not even a human.
Yeah, and I think you said it all, and just to add it, few things to it from a different angle, for some of us who do develop content for training and build infrastructure to support our training development, I have a couple of times used AI to actually help me out with some of my code, such as Terraform code or Vagrant files, and trying to deploy environment, and that has helped me fantastic. Asking AI to maybe write a little bit of my PowerShell to deploy AD environment, and of course again, this goes back to me talking about guided automation. It's not like all 100%. You don't have to just blindly take their code and then just run it, right? It still comes down to me as a human to read through it and then make some few adjustments. But at the end of the day, it still cuts down, my work of writing the whole thing from the ground up to maybe about 50%, or maybe 70%, and then I, add in the additional ones. So and even this doesn't even, not to make things sound like a bit of a movie kind of way. I think there was about news 6 months ago that a whole company got duped because somebody did a deepfake of, I think, their CEO or CFO, like a raw video. It was a deepfake, requesting a withdrawal of, I think, $20 million or so, like some amount of money, which was ridiculous. And that was an actual thing that happened, offensively using AI for that.
Just 2 weeks ago. So the mortgage industry, actually a Silicon Valley executive in the Bay Area got duped out of $40,000 for closing costs.
That.
So, and it was, obviously I think, cyber criminals are looking at business use cases where you got to bring money to the table for a closing cost on a property. And then, to be able to see, okay, what are the workflows that happen when you do that? And especially when, for certain types of sellers, certain types of maybe realtors that are basically, making the deal happen. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for OSINT. We didn't really talk a lot about OSINT, but AI models definitely provide ample amount of gasoline to be added for the OSINT capabilities. And, there was an executive that basically got duped, and I think there was a deepfake voice that was used. But, the easy prey, unfortunately, is always going to be, children and the elderly. you know, because they don't know a lot of this stuff is coming. So that's the scary part. You know, I think that, you know, for technology firms, for, you know, government and municipalities, that they're still way behind in trying to understand all these different techniques of deepfake usage, of AI, different, you know, models that can be used for OSINT, profiling, user profiling. You know, there's so many different lists that could be bought in terms of getting different targets. So it's unfortunate that, you know, the elderly can easily be duped when you have the voice of their grandchildren, the voice of their own children that are easily be able to be identified through social media. TikTok, you know, takes, YouTube takes, you know, this puts you and me, you know, in harm's way, man. So
it does. I mean, those things used to be like the Hollywood movies and show, but now we live in the reality of it.
Absolutely.
You know, where things are happening, you know, in a crazy way, and you know, and AI is just double, you know, added, you know, sword. You know, it can be used in a good way and it can be used in a bad way, and that's the world that we live in right now. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, on that note, you know, it was great kicking it here with you in Las Vegas.
Sir.
We covered a good array of different topics. Didn't agree on everything.
Yeah.
But it's great to see you out here in Vegas, man.
Likewise, man.
You like the heat out here better, or you like the ATL heat?
Come on, man. 119 degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll pick ATL.
Absolutely. Hot Atlanta every day.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, man.
Yes,
until next time, this is Tony UV.
Yeah. And that is Kofi.
Tuning out for the Dirty South Cybersecurity Podcast.
Yes, sir.